Jordan Reyes walked into a boardwalk arcade with his daughter. Just a fun afternoon, a few games, a laugh. Then he paid with a $50 bill. The clerk froze. Security moved in. Police followed. They slammed him down, cuffed him, in front of his little girl, as phones recorded every second. But Jordan wasn't ordinary. He ran the city's emergency operations, and they'd just arrested the man who handled their disasters. Before we go on, drop your city in the comments and hit subscribe, because what happens next will break your heart. The morning had started perfect. The smell of sea salt, the cries of gulls over the Ferris wheel. Jordan parked his silver sedan by the boardwalk, the ocean breeze brushing his jacket. "Come on, Daddy!" Maya shouted, jumping out, her pink hoodie bright against the gray sky. He laughed. "Slow down, champ. The games aren't running away." They walked past food stalls and souvenir stands. Jordan had worked all week. Long hours, crisis meetings, late-night calls. This was supposed to be their break. The arcade doors slid open, spilling warm air and flashing lights. Music from old machines bounced off the walls. Maya gasped. "It's like a rainbow." He smiled. "Pick a game." "Air hockey first," she said. "Loser buys lunch," he teased. She grinned. "Deal." They stopped at the token counter. The young clerk chewed gum, eyes half asleep. Jordan pulled a crisp 50 from his wallet. The bill still creased from the ATM. "20 in tokens, please." The clerk held the money to the light, then ran a marker across it. The line stayed pale. She frowned. "Something wrong?" Jordan asked. She didn't answer. Her hand slid under the counter. A soft click echoed. "Dad?" Maya whispered. "It's fine," he said calmly, giving her hand a squeeze. "Just a quick check." Two guards appeared, black jackets, hard eyes. One stepped too close. "What's the issue?" Jordan asked. "Possible counterfeit," one guard said flatly. The clerk still wouldn't look at him. She passed the bill to the guard, who stared at it like the decision was already made. Jordan stayed still. His training told him not to rise, not to feed the tension. "It's real. I just got it from the bank." "Step aside, sir," the guard said, reaching for his arm. Maya gripped his sleeve tighter. "Daddy?" He shifted slightly, putting himself between her and them. "We don't need to make this a scene." But it was already one. Phones came up. People stopped playing. Then the door opened again. Two uniformed officers walked in, rain still on their coats. One tall, one stocky. The tall one's eyes found Jordan like he'd been told exactly who to look for. "What's going on?" he asked. "Fake bill," the guard replied, the officer's jaw set. "Wallet, sir." Jordan held up the bill. "Officer, please. My daughter is right here. This can be checked in a minute." "Wallet," the officer repeated louder. The arcade went silent except for Maya's quick breathing. She whispered, "Daddy, I'm scared." He bent close. "Breathe with me, baby. Just like we practiced." The tall officer stepped forward. "Hands behind your back." "For what?" "For paying for tokens," Jordan said. "Call the bank. The ATM's 2 blocks away." The officer grabbed his arm hard. The other one moved toward Maya. "Don't touch her," Jordan snapped, his voice breaking through the noise. "Resisting," the tall officer barked. He twisted Jordan's arm, forcing him down. His knees hit the cold tile. Lights from the machines flashed across his face. Blue, red, blue. Maya screamed. "Stop! He didn't do anything." Phones pointed. Someone whispered, "Get this on video." Another said, "Just comply, man." Blood hit his lip. He tasted metal and shame. "Check the bill," he said through his teeth. "Just check it." The officer didn't. He just shoved him toward the door. Jordan looked over his shoulder. "Look at me, Maya." "I'm here, Daddy," she cried. "I'm here." "It's okay," he said, voice trembling but steady. "Breathe. With me." Outside, rain tapped the police van like a slow drum. They pushed him in, head down. Through the window, he saw Maya standing in the rain, fists clenched, staring at him until the van pulled away. He focused on breathing. In, out, count to 4. Storm plans, evacuation drills, anything to stay calm. The city blurred past. Gray streets, flashing lights, strangers watching. Inside the station, the air smelled like old coffee and disinfectant. A red camera light blinked in the corner. "Name," someone said. "Jordan Reyes." "Occupation?" He paused, jaw tight. "Director, City Emergency Operations." The officer raised an eyebrow but didn't respond. Jordan leaned back against the cold wall, cuffs cutting into his wrists. He closed his eyes, seeing only Maya in the rain, small and fierce. He opened them again, staring straight at the camera light. Record this well, he thought. Every second. The station felt colder now. Jordan sat in a small gray room. His wet clothes clung to his skin. The coffee they gave him was bitter and half cold, but he held it anyway, trying to stop his hands from shaking. A detective walked in, gray suit, sharp tie, eyes that looked bored, not curious. He sat across from Jordan, flipping through papers. "Mr. Reyes," he said, "you know why you're here?" Jordan looked up. "Because I paid for tokens with real money." The detective smirked. "Our scanner says otherwise." "Your scanner's wrong," Jordan said. "That bill came from First Harbor Bank. You can check the serial number." The detective leaned back. "You seem like a smart man. You know how these things go. Mistakes happen." Jordan's voice stayed calm. "Mistakes don't happen like this. Not to me. Not in front of my child." The detective didn't reply. He tapped his pen. The sound filled the small room like dripping water. The door opened. A woman stepped in. Sharp, steady, eyes full of focus. Her ID tag read Public Defender, Rosa Alvarez. She couldn't have been much older than 30, but she carried herself like she'd already seen too many storms. "I'll take it from here," she told the detective. He shrugged. "Be my guest?" He left without looking back. Rosa sat across from Jordan. "Mr. Reyes, I've reviewed your case. The report says the bill failed the marker test, but the serial number traces to a legitimate bank badge." Jordan frowned. "You confirmed that?" She nodded. "Called the bank myself. The ATM recorded the withdrawal. You're clean." Jordan blinked. "Then why am I still here?" "Because they're saying you resisted," she said quietly. "And because once something like this starts rolling, it takes time to stop it." He stared at the table. "I didn't resist. I just told them not to touch my daughter." Rosa's expression softened. "You have a daughter?" "Maya. 9. She saw everything." Rosa took a slow breath. "We'll protect her from testifying if we can. But she might be the one person who can describe what really happened." "She's just a kid," he said. "She shouldn't have to remember this." "She already does," Rosa said. "Now let's make sure it means something." Hours later, across town, the arcade night manager sat alone in his office. The neon outside painted his desk blue. On his monitor, the security footage replayed. On a loop, Jordan handing over the bill, the clerk pressing a button, guards rushing in. He chewed his lip. He'd seen enough to know something was off. His phone buzzed with a new message from Corporate Legal Forward all footage to headquarters. Delete local copies immediately. He hesitated. The room felt too quiet. He looked again, at the screen, at Maya's terrified face as her father was dragged away. He plugged in a flash drive and copied the video. "Just in case," he whispered. He sent the official file as ordered, then tucked the flash drive into his jacket pocket. His heart pounded. Maybe he'd regret it later. Or maybe, one day, it would matter. By morning, whispers had spread through the city. City official arrested. A little girl crying at an arcade. Possible counterfeit charge. No one knew the full story, but the pieces sounded bad enough. When Rosa met Jordan at the courthouse that day, he looked exhausted but steady. "They're releasing you on bail," she said, "but the department already placed you on leave. Officially, it's pending investigation." Jordan gave a tired nod. "Figures." Rosa looked around, lowering her voice. "I started digging last night. There are other arrests like yours. Same excuse. Counterfeit bill. Same security company, same officers." He frowned. "You're saying this isn't random?" She shook her head. "Not even close. Most of those people never fought back. You're the first one with proof and a name that makes headlines." Jordan's jaw tightened. "Then let's find what they're hiding." Rosa smiled faintly. "Good, because I don't scare easy." That night, Jordan sat on his balcony, city lights flickering below. Maya was inside, drawing quietly. Every few minutes, she'd peek through the glass to make sure he was still there. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Check Harborview CCTV, south exit." Jordan frowned. He hadn't told anyone about that camera. Years ago, he'd helped install it after a storm destroyed the old system. He looked out over the bay, wind cold on his face. "Okay," he said quietly. "You want me quiet, but I know where the wires run." For the first time since his arrest, he felt something return. Control. Not anger, not fear, focus. This wasn't just a storm of weather, it was a storm of truth. And he was done staying silent. The next morning was gray again, the kind of gray that made the sea and the sky look like one thing. Jordan pulled on a hoodie and walked fast, keeping his head low. He carried a small tool bag, the kind maintenance workers used. He reached Harborview Arcade just after dawn. The rides were still, the Ferris wheel unmoving, gulls circling above the pier. He knew this place better than anyone. Years ago, when the city rebuilt after a hurricane, he'd helped install the new camera system along the boardwalk. Now, those same cameras might be the key to everything. Jordan stopped near a metal box half hidden behind the lifeguard station. He crouched, unscrewed the latch, and pulled out a short cable. A small screen flickered to life, hours of footage rolled by, tourists, games, rain. Then he saw it. There he was, being dragged out by the guards. But something else caught his eye. Behind the counter, the clerk slipped a folded paper, small, white, into one guard's hand just seconds before the officers came in. Jordan froze the frame. Zoomed in, the guard pocketed the note. "This wasn't a mistake," he whispered. Across town, Rosa sat in her cramped office, surrounded by stacks of case files. She rubbed her eyes, staring at a list of old arrest records. Same pattern. Counterfeit money, possible fake note, suspect released, and no further action. She underlined the names. Different people. "Same company, Harborview Security," she muttered. "Someone's getting paid for this." A knock on her door made her jump. A nervous man stood there. Thin, pale, a security badge still clipped to his jacket. "Ms. Alvarez," he said. "I'm the night manager from Harborview Arcade. I think I have something you should see." He handed her a small flash drive, his hands shaking. "They told us to delete all the footage," he said. "But I kept a copy. I can't just pretend I didn't see that little girl cry." Rosa took the drive carefully. "You did the right thing," he gave a dry laugh. "Doesn't feel like it. Trust me," she said. "It will." That evening, Jordan met Rosa at her office. She plugged the flash drive into her laptop. The screen filled with grainy video. "There," Jordan said, pointing. "That's when she presses the button." Rosa leaned closer. The clerk's hand disappeared under the counter, hitting something. Now watch this, Jordan said, connecting his own drive. This is from the south exit camera. The view shifted outside the arcade. The guard accepted the folded paper and slipped it into his jacket. Rosa frowned. That's not money. No, Jordan said. Looks like a payout slip. She looked at him. Which means someone's paying for false arrests. Every time it happens, someone profits. Jordan nodded slowly. And guess who holds both city security and jail contracts? Rosa checked the files again. Harborview Security and Harbor Detention Services. Same owner. Different names, Jordan exhaled. A pipeline. Arrest them, book them, bill the city. Rosa's jaw tightened. We just need proof they knew it was fake. Jordan looked at her, eyes sharp. Then we find the paper trail. A soft knock broke their focus. Rosa's intern poked her head in, holding her phone. You might want to see this, she said. On the screen played a shaky cell phone video, footage from inside the arcade taken by a teenage bystander. The caption read, "A city official arrested in front of his daughter. For a fake 50? Watch the cop's hand at 023. The video was already going viral. Thousands of comments. Hashtags spreading fast. Rosa set the phone down. This could blow up, she said quietly. Jordan watched the clip in silence. Maya's scream echoed faintly through the speaker. This isn't about me anymore, he said. This is about all of them. Every person they did this to. Rosa met his eyes. Then we use it. Let the world see. That night, the city buzzed. News anchors replayed the video in slow motion. The police department called it a misunderstanding pending review. The mayor's office refused to comment, but people were talking. Jordan sat in the dark, the city lights flickering against his window. Maya was asleep in the next room, curled up with her drawings. His phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Next step, city procurement records. Look for signatures. He stared at the message for a long time. He didn't know who was helping him, but whoever it was, they knew where to dig. He looked out at the harbor. The Ferris wheel turned slow under the night lights. This isn't over, he said quietly. It's just starting. The next day looked calm, too calm. The sun rose sharp and clear over the bay, but the city below was restless. Jordan parked across from City Hall, watching workers rush inside with coffee cups and tired faces. He used to be one of them. Now, walking those same steps felt like walking into enemy ground. Inside, the marble floors gleamed. His shoes echoed. He nodded at the front guard, a man who still recognized him from better days, and passed without a question. He moved straight to the records office, a gray room full of steel cabinets and humming printers. The clerk looked up, startled. Mr. Reyes, I thought you were, suspended? Just reviewing something for Rosa Alvarez, Jordan said, calm but firm. I need copies of the private security contracts. Last 2 years, the clerk frowned. Those aren't public. Jordan slid a paper from his folder. Emergency Oversight Clause. Still active until my replacement signs off. The clerk hesitated, then nodded slowly. If you say so. She disappeared into the back room. Jordan stood still, heart pounding. The hum of the copier sounded like a ticking clock. When she returned, she handed him a heavy folder. All signed by Deputy Director Marsh, she said. Jordan's jaw tightened. Thank you. He walked out, folder under his arm, sunlight spilling across the marble floor. He'd just picked up a live wire. At Rosa's office, they spread the papers out across her desk. Rows of signatures, seals, numbers. There, she said, pointing at one page. Marsh approved a 3-year deal with Harborview Security. No council review. Jordan traced his finger down the column. And look at this. Same week, he signed a contract with Harbor Detention Services. Rosa's brow furrowed. He's running both sides, Jordan nodded. Arrest pipeline. Fake charges, real profits. For a moment, neither spoke. Rain tapped lightly on the window. Finally, Rosa said, We need proof he knew. Not just his name on paper, Emails, messages, something direct. Jordan took a breath. I can still access the internal server. My credentials haven't expired yet. She looked at him. You sure? He nodded. Tonight. By evening, drizzle turned the streets silver. They parked near the emergency operations building. His old workplace, now full of people who'd turned their backs on him. Jordan swiped his old keycard. The light blinked green. They slipped inside. The building hummed softly, empty after hours. Fluorescent lights buzzed faintly overhead. Rosa stood watch while Jordan logged in at the main terminal. He typed fast, his fingers steady despite the pulse in his neck. Come on, he whispered. Show me what you're hiding. Folders opened. Procurement, incident reports, internal comms. Then he saw it. Comms, Marsh. He clicked. A list of emails filled the screen. Rosa stepped closer. One message caught her eye. Subject, weekly list confirmed. Incentive delivered, Jordan scrolled. The attachment loaded, a spreadsheet, names, arrest dates, payout codes, he exhaled. They paid bonuses for each arrest, Rosa's voice was low. And every arrest used the same reason, counterfeit bills. She lifted her phone and snapped photos of the screen. This is it, she said. This is enough to blow it open, Jordan nodded. It's not just enough. It's everything. Then, footsteps, voices in the hallway, flashlights slicing through the dim light. Security sweep, someone said. Building should be empty. Rosa's eyes widened. We have to go. Jordan yanked the flash drive from the port and shut the computer down. They slipped into a small storage room. The sound of boots echoed closer. A flashlight beam slid under the door. Check the server room, another voice said. Jordan held his breath. Rosa's hand trembled slightly, clutching her phone. The footsteps moved on. When the hallway fell quiet again, he cracked the door open. Now, he whispered. They hurried out a side exit. The alarm didn't sound. Jordan had disabled it years ago, a leftover from flood drills. Rain soaked them as they ran to the car. Inside, Rosa laughed shakily. You could have been arrested again. He looked out at the wet streets, breathing hard. Maybe, he said. But now we've got proof. By midnight, they sat in a small diner near the docks. Fries untouched. Coffee going cold. Rosa's laptop glowed between them. The files looked unreal on the screen. Evidence that could shake the whole city. She typed fast. We sent this to a news outlet and the mayor's office at the same time. Force their hand. They'll deny it, Jordan said. They can try, she replied. We've got signatures, emails, payments, everything, he nodded. Then tomorrow morning, we stop being the story. Outside, thunder rumbled over the bay. Lightning flashed over the Ferris wheel. Rosa looked at him. You ready? Jordan's eyes stayed on the horizon. Ready enough. The storm was almost here, but this time he wasn't afraid of the rain. Morning came bright and hot, the kind of light that didn't let lies hide. By 7, the city was already buzzing. Rosa's leak had gone live. The headline glowed across every phone screen and cafe TV. City security scandal. False arrest scheme uncovered. Jordan sat at his kitchen table, coffee cooling in his hands. Maya padded in, still in her pajamas, rubbing her eyes. She stopped when she saw the news. Dad, she whispered, that's you. He nodded slowly. That's us. Does that mean you won? He smiled softly. It means people finally see what really happened. That's enough for now. She leaned her head on his arm. The TV murmured in the background. Anchors talking fast, the city trying to make sense of it all. By mid-morning, the courthouse steps were a wall of microphones. Reporters shouted questions. Cameras flashed. The mayor's office called for a full internal review. The police union promised full cooperation. Deputy Director Marsh stood in front of the crowd, sweat shining on his forehead. He said he had no knowledge of any wrongdoing. Rosa and Jordan stood off to the side, watching him spin his story. He's going to blame paperwork, Rosa said quietly. Then let's give him the paperwork that ends it. Jordan replied. She handed him a printed copy of the email. Marsh's name right beside the payouts. Jordan stepped forward. The reporters turned. Mr. Reyes, is it true you were falsely arrested? Someone shouted. Jordan held up the document. It's true, he said, voice calm but strong. I was arrested in front of my daughter for using real money. But I wasn't the only one. Dozens of families went through the same thing. And the people responsible signed these papers. Cameras clicked like thunder. What do you want now? Another reporter called. Accountability, he said. Not just for me. For every person who never got to stand here and speak. For a second, the noise quieted. Even the wind seemed to pause. Rosa met his eyes and gave a small nod. The truth was finally out there. By afternoon, City Hall was in chaos. The mayor suspended Marsh. The contracts were frozen. Harborview Security's offices were sealed for investigation. The same officers who had handcuffed Jordan were now on leave. For the first time in days, Jordan felt something settle in his chest. Not victory, just peace. He didn't cheer. He didn't smile. He just breathed. That evening, he took Maya back to the boardwalk. The sun was low, painting the sky gold. The arcade lights blinked again, but quieter now, under new management. Maya held his hand, looking up at the Ferris wheel. It looks smaller, she said. It's not smaller, Jordan replied. We just see more of it now, she smiled. Can I try to win that whale again someday? He chuckled. When you've got better aim. She laughed and ran ahead, her sneakers tapping across the same tiles where everything had gone wrong. Jordan stood still for a moment, letting the ocean wind wash over him. He wasn't thinking about reports or hearings or news cameras, just about his daughter, her laughter, and the sound of waves. His phone buzzed, a message from Rosa. Inquiry starts Monday. They can't bury it now. He typed back one word. Good. Then he slipped the phone into his pocket and looked toward the horizon. The sky was clear, the sea calm. For the first time in a long while, the world was quiet enough to hear his daughter laugh, free and bright against the evening air. And that sound, more than anything, told him the storm had passed.